Hey guys, welcome to the AWS certifications video from Scalar. So in this video, we'll be discussing everything about the AWS certifications and everything you need to know about and who should take what certification. I'm Kodishwaran and we'll be explaining about the associate, the professional, the specialty, and also the foundational level certifications. And before moving on with this particular video, please subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our upcoming videos, and also leave a like if you enjoy our content. Also, if you have any queries, please leave a comment down below and we would be addressing them all. Now let's get started with the video. Hey guys, so before starting, let's understand what is AWS and then move on to the AWS certifications. Because you might have a question that why should I take up AWS certifications when there are so many other cloud providers? So there is Azure, there is GCP, or not even cloud. There are other certifications which you can take up. But why exactly AWS? So first of all, AWS is the #1 cloud provider according to the public cloud market share, and it has been for a long time. So Amazon Web Services is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform, offering over 200 fully featured services from data centers globally. So they keep increasing the number of servers each and every year. They keep accommodating and updating their existing services and also giving out new software and new platform as a services, new infrastructure as a services. So again, millions of customers, so startups, individuals, large enterprises, even government agencies are using AWS because AWS provides them a lower cost, a much easier way of adapting and creating service instead of setting up their own data centers. So now, talking about this, as you know, as I told again, AWS is the biggest cloud provider. So many different companies are using AWS. That basically brings me to the next point. So why should you take up the AWS certification? Because AWS is used and adapted in so many different companies. If you have the skills and if you have the AWS skills, the right skills, you can get into major companies like Netflix or Expedia or any company which uses AWS. All right. And one more thing I just wanted to give you a brief is about the AWS Global Cloud Infrastructure. So why I wanted to show this is because let's say you are in India right now. So if you want to work in a company which is running in US and they only have the customer base in US, and so you can still work from India because the application is hosted on cloud. You don't have to be in person in the company in order to make sure that your code is uploaded to production or whatever, because everything has gone to cloud computing right now. You can sit at your home and you can do the same work which you're going to do if you're in that particular office. And also, let's say you have your application hosted in US and you want to migrate it to India into a new customer base. So that's why you are hired and you have been asked to basically migrate the or replicate the application which is running in the US data center into the Indian data center. So in that case, you are going to do the exact same thing. The application is already available. You're just replicating it into the Indian data center. So if it is an on-premises data center, in this case, you would have to set up a data center in India and configure it, update it before you are going to do the entire setup which is already done in US. So that's a lot of time and effort. And also AWS has 81 availability zones in 25 different geographic regions around the world. And also they have announced the plans to bring in 27 more. So they're basically always trying to improve and increase the number of availability zones. So AWS is a major cloud provider, so this is one reason. And also many major companies use AWS, and if you want to get into those, AWS is one of the right skills which you'll have to learn. All right. So now, certifications in AWS. So these are the major certifications in AWS. So these are the certifications which are provided by AWS. So there are 4 types: the foundational, the associate, professional, and specialty. So let's start from the very basic, the foundational one. So yeah. So earning AWS certified cloud practitioner validates cloud fluency and foundational AWS knowledge. So cloud practitioner is the most foundational and it's the most fundamental certification provided by AWS, where you will just have to show your theoretical and foundational knowledge which you have. So you have to learn all the major concepts in AWS, but you'll just have to understand them theoretically. Obviously, you have to practice them practically in order to understand how it works in theory once you've learned it. But again, you just have to know the theoretical explanation of how something works in AWS, how a particular service works in AWS. So it is the most fundamental certification. And one more thing is that it is not a prerequisite for any of the other AWS certifications. For example, if you want to take up the architect or the sysops administrator or the developer certification, the foundational certification, the cloud practitioner is not a prerequisite. You can directly go for them. If you want to start from the very basic, and then you can go for the cloud practitioner. So who should take up this exam? So before taking up this exam, they're asking you to have 6 months of exposure to the AWS cloud. It's basically learning AWS for 6 months and doing some projects or doing some basic hands-ons using AWS. As I told you, foundational certification, basic understanding of IT services and their uses in AWS cloud platform. So understanding the very basic IT services and very basic concepts of networking will be really helpful. For example, HTTP or IP address. So if you do not know what an IP address is, then you will not be able to relate how a server will work, right? So understanding the very basics of IT and very basics of the IT services, so that you can understand what exactly is going on in AWS is required. And knowledge of core AWS services such as EC2, IAM. There is a building tool as well. Then there is S3, RDS, DynamoDB. There are so many different AWS services which you can go for. And the security concepts and how exactly cloud, that is AWS, impacts your business, what exactly it could bring to the table. So all of this should be known before you take up this particular exam in order to clear it. Okay, so now to the right side, you can see this is the exam overview. So this is provided for every single type of examination, and this particular one is given for the cloud practitioner. So the level is foundational, the length of the examination is 90 minutes, and the cost is 100 USD. And the practice exam costs 20 USD. If you want to take up the practice exam before giving out the actual exam, you can do that. And the format is 65 questions. You would be given 65 questions, which you'll have to finish up in 90 minutes. And it would be either multiple choice or multiple response. So basically, every single question would be multiple choice questions. But in that, the answer could be one or the answer could be multiple choices. All right. And there are two types of delivery methods. One is the testing center or the online proctored exam. So right now, because of the lockdowns and after the pandemic, they brought in the new delivery method, which is the online proctored exam. So online proctored exams are being held right now. So basically, this would be the right time for you if you want to take up the exam right from your home. So you can go for it. Right. So this is the foundational certification. Again, it's not the prerequisite. So now coming to the next one, which is the associate certifications. So associate certifications are basically the most popular and commonly taken up AWS certifications. Most people don't even go for the cloud practitioner. They directly come to the associate ones. So let's just discuss the associate certifications in detail. Because these are the most important certifications in AWS and also the highest paid certifications in AWS, especially the solutions architect and developer. And then comes the professional and specialty. So this we'll have a brief about these two certifications, these two types of certifications, and then we'll end the session. So now let's look into each and every associate certification and understand who should take up which certification. Okay, so now first going to the AWS Certified Solutions Architect. So I'm opening this site, guys. Okay, so over here, you can see the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate, Solutions Architect Associate, CO2 examination. So this is intended for individuals who perform in a solutions architect role. The exam validates a candidate's ability to design secure and robust solutions by using AWS technologies. So to make it even more simple, the solutions architect job role is for people who want to create robust, reliable, and secure architectures on the AWS cloud so that an application of a company could be deployed into it. So if an application is going to be deployed, in order to do that, the environment in which it's going to be uploaded or deployed should be very secure and also should be very reliable, that the application should be always be running, it should be highly available, it should not crash or go down. So these are the things which a solutions architect will do. Okay. So over here, you can see recommended AWS knowledge is provided. So you can just open aws.amazon.com and you can basically go to the certifications part and check out all of these details. So this is the exam guide for the AWS Solutions Architect examination. So here you can see whatever you need to see. So recommended AWS knowledge will be provided for each and every certification. So in this case, they're asking you to have hands-on experience using compute, networking, storage, management, and database AWS services. So these 5 are the major, most integral AWS domains for example, under compute, you would have EC2, you would have Elastic Beanstalk, you would have Lambda, you would have EMR, so these kinds of services. Under networking, you would have VPC, and in VPC there are so many different concepts to learn. There's internet gateways, NAT gateways, NACLs. So there are many concepts to learn. Under storage, there is EBS, there is EFS, there is S3. Management, there is IAM, which is Identity and Access Management, and other related tools to it. And database, there is RDS, there is DynamoDB, there is Redshift, there is Elastic Cache. So now, even though the recommended AWS knowledge is provided over here, this is about the examination, guys. So this exam includes 15 unscored questions that do not affect your score. AWS collects information about candidate performance on these unscored questions to evaluate these questions for future use as second questions. These unscored questions are not identified on the exam. Even though there are 65, they won't be identified. Only 50 questions will affect your score, but even then you'll have to make sure all the questions are proper, guys. And yeah, so your results for the exam are reported as a score of 100 to 1000, and the minimum passing score is 720. So you can just keep it as 72%. So make sure you have 72% of the questions correct. All right. Okay, so this is the examination outline. So what this basically signifies is which part of the examination will have the most questions. So which part of the examination, for example, there is domain 1, which is design resilient architectures. So this particular domain would have the most questions in the examination, that is 30%. And next comes high performing architectures. So 28% of the questions would be from high performing architectures. And what exactly will be covered in each and every domain will be provided under this particular section. Okay, so now, but even though you might have a little confusion about what services you'll have to learn, right? You can understand this, but as a beginner, you might not get a lot about it. For example, determine a scaling strategy for components used in a design, or select an appropriate database based on requirements. So there are various databases, but without understanding what exactly it is, you would not know which database to choose for that particular type of situation, right? So if you come down over here, they would be providing you the list of AWS services which will be covered. So the following is a non-exhaustive list of tools and technologies that could appear in the exam. This list is subject to change and is provided to help you understand the general scope of services, features, or technologies on the examination. So now these are the major domains which will be covered. Okay. So now I'm going to point out the most integral AWS services which everybody should learn when they are starting off with it. Okay. So this would give you a much detailed understanding of all the services from which you might have questions being asked. But again, I'm just going to point out the most integral services which you should be really thorough in, because most of the questions would be from these services. Okay, so under analytics, make sure you learn EMR and Elastic Search. And yeah, so these two are pretty important under analytics. And then even other services are important, but these two are more important than them. So AWS billing and cost management is not a really complicated tool, so anybody could learn this. So it's basically creating budgets and how to create budget alerts. Let's say your AWS budget for the month is $1,000, and you want to get an alert whenever the budget exceeds $800. The cost of AWS is exceeding $800. How to set that up? So everything will be covered in this AWS billing and cost management. Okay, and then there is application integration. So under application integration, again, these two are not really hard to learn. These are pretty easy services. So again, AWS billing management and application integration, so you can learn all of them. Coming to compute, so this is the most important part. And in this case, EC2, Beanstalk, Elastic Load Balancing, Lambda. So these four are the most important compute services. But again, Amazon EC2 is the most integral service in compute, and you should understand every single aspect of EC2. All right. And then there is database. Under database, first of all, you should be very thorough in Amazon RDS, and then you can go for DynamoDB and Redshift. And in management, so CloudFormation, CloudTrail, CloudWatch, these three are really important services in management. And again, auto-scaling also is really important, but auto-scaling would be included and covered in the load balancing part. So autoscaling will be covered and will be helpful, and it would be learned together with the load balancing part. So you would be understanding that over there. So these again, and migration and transfer, these are not the most integral services. These are services which you'll have to know after you learn these integral services, right? And then coming to networking and content delivery. So in this case, Amazon VPC is the most integral service. Without VPC, you cannot create any services, because without a network, how would you create a server, right? So Amazon VPC is really important. And then comes Route 53, and then comes API Gateway. So other services are, again, you can learn them, but these three are the most integral. So you can start with them first. And then coming to the last two parts, in this case, Secrets Manager, Shield, WAF, these are important, and Identity and Access Management, and AWS KMS. These two services are the most integral services under the security, identity, and compliance domain. And coming to storage, so S3, EBS, and EFS are very, very important in this particular domain. So I think I've given you a decent understanding of the AWS Certified Solutions Architect certification. So now, who can take up this particular certification? So first of all, to become an AWS Certified Solutions Architect, any job description you look into as a solutions architect will ask for a programming language. So if you know one high-level programming language like Java or Python or C++, then go for it. If not, go for the next certification, which I'm going to talk about, which is the SysOps Administrator. So SysOps Administrator is a cloud operations role. So this particular certification will ask you to know everything about AWS. So you would be a cloud admin. So you would be an administrator for the AWS cloud. So that's exactly what you would be doing. So again, you can just check it out. What is the knowledge you will have to have? So over here, you can see 1 to 2 years of experience as a systems administrator in an operations role would be really helpful before you take this examination. And more about the AWS recommended knowledge. And again, most questions would be from the monitoring, logging, and remediation part of the examination. So as I told you, this is an administrator role. So most of your job role would involve monitoring and logging the data and using the logs to find what exactly is the problem with a particular AWS service and then remediate it. So most questions will be from there. And then networking and content delivery and deployment, provisioning, and automation. That is, you should know how to deploy servers, how to terminate them, how to basically create an auto scaling group, how to scale up and down whenever there is a server in trouble, how to troubleshoot it, and all of this. So in this case, you do not need to know any programming language to get into a SysOps administrator job role, a cloud operations job role, right? And the final one is AWS certified developer. So in this case, you would be a person who knows software development completely. It could be full stack development, it could be mobile development, backend development, doesn't matter. But you would be a developer who understands how AWS works in order to create applications which are going to be deployed in the AWS cloud, right? So that's what a AWS cloud developer will do. So over here again, the targeted candidate should have 1 or more years of hands-on experience in developing and maintaining an AWS based application. So this certification will help you understand how AWS development works, how developing an application which is going to be deployed into AWS works. All right. So this is a certification for a person who knows high-level programming languages, who knows how to develop, who knows databases, who basically knows complete development, software development. All right. And again, over here, you can see most questions would be from development with AWS services. So development with the AWS services is the part where you learn about SDKs in AWS. So if you're, let's say you are a Python developer, AWS provide SDKs for Python. If you're a Java developer, AWS provides SDKs for Java. So for every single programming language, they will provide a SDK, and you can understand and use those SDKs in your code, and how to use the AWS CLI, how to use other types of SDKs. There is an encryption SDK, and how to utilize that encryption SDK in your application. So these are the 3 associate certifications, and these are the most important certifications, guys, in AWS. So now I'm going to go back and brief you about the other 2 certifications, other 2 types of certifications, which is professional and specialty, and that would be the last part of this particular session. So associate, over here you can see there is 130 minutes to complete the exam. 150 USD and 20 USD to take the practice exam. So everything else would be the same for every single certification. That is 65 questions, multiple choice or multiple response. You can take it in a testing center or as an online proctored exam. But the only difference would be the length and the cost. So this is the associate certifications. I hope you understood who can take up what certification. If you want to become a person who creates architectures on the AWS cloud and also understands coding, so that you can create an architecture which will suit and help a person creating an application. So in that case, go for solutions architect. If you don't want to associate yourself with programming languages, go for sysops admin. If you want to do software development and also work with cloud, go for developer. And finally, the professional and specialty. So for the professional certification, the length of the examination is 180 minutes. For specialty, it is 170 minutes. The cost is pretty much the same for professional. For specialty, there is no practice exam. You can only directly take up the examination. Okay, so here it's 40 USD, and specialty again 65 questions. Professional certification 75 questions. Again, the delivery method is one and the same. So I'll just open the website which you'll have to go for to understand about the AWS certifications. So it is aws.amazon.com/certification. Okay, you can basically schedule an exam. You can prepare for an exam directly from here. So these two are the professional certifications. One is the professional solutions architect. Once you complete this, you can go for this. And DevOps engineer certification. Once you complete SysOps admin or developer, you can go for the DevOps engineer professional certification. And coming to specialty, let's say you want to become a security engineer or a network engineer or a database engineer, and you also want to learn cloud and also want to become a cloud engineer who also does these specialty things. That is a cloud networking engineer, a cloud database engineer, or a cloud data analyst. So stuff like that. So in that case, you can directly go for the specialty certifications. So if you're looking into data analytics, you can go for the data analytics one. There is machine learning, there is security, there is database and advanced networking. So this is technical AWS cloud experience in this specialty domain. If you want to get into one particular specialty domain in AWS, then go for the specialty certifications. If you want to upgrade your career in the correct or in the right role you have right now, the current role, let's say you're a solutions architect and you want to become a senior solutions architect or become a lead in a particular company, in that case, go for the professional solutions architect one, or you can also go for the DevOps engineer role. So these are the certifications, guys. You can basically see more information about the resources in the official site itself. If you want to learn about one particular certification, let's say you want to know about the professional solutions architect certification, just click on it. You will be taken to the page. It will give you all the information about who can take up this particular exam. You will get an idea of where you stand and how much knowledge you have in AWS. If you want to know more about the examination and understand even better, in that case, you can just go to the exam guide and check what exactly are the services which will be covered and what exactly you will have to learn. All right. And also, again, if you want to practice more, then you have free sample questions and also a practice exam. So first, I would suggest you to start off with the sample questions. Try to finish all the sample questions and make sure you get them right. All right. The answers are given at the bottom. You can first answer them all and then go for the answers and understand what exactly is going on. If not, if you want to go for the paid exam, you can also take up the paid exam and learn and understand what exactly it is. Okay, so this is basically about the AWS certifications, guys. So I hope you understood about all the AWS certifications which are available, and I think I cleared who can take up what certification. So that's it for this session. Thank you. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys found the video really helpful. If you liked it, please leave a like, share, and also subscribe to our channel, and don't miss our upcoming updates. And also, if you have any queries, please leave a comment down below and we would be addressing them. Thank you.